UFC Fight Night Usman versus Buckley just ended, and oh my goodness, did Kamaru Usman make me and a whole lot of other people eat our words, man. I really thought Buckley was going to go in there, have a lot better, success on the feet, not really get taken down as much as, he did in this fight. And yeah, that totally backfired. Usman went in there, shot, and it seemed like anytime he went for a shot, it was just deep. He finished. He stayed on top the entire round, which I knew if Usman were to get him to the ground, Buckley, it was going to be hard for him to get up. If Usman gets you to the ground, good luck getting up. Like, you're really not gonna. He's too strong. He's too good. He really put on a classic Usman performance, and I think Buckley was really more so looking for cage wrestling, right? I think he was trying to get ready for defensive cage wrestling up against the cage, getting pressured, where Usman really shines and has been doing to, pretty much everyone his entire career. But Usman this time, he was shooting shots from fucking Dagestan. That's how kind of far his shots were. And I was kind of surprised that he was getting that deep on Buckley, and Buckley had no answer for it. He was just getting taken down right away. Right when Usman would shoot, he was just falling right back on his ass, getting flattened out, getting pressured up against the cage, and just getting beat up for 4 rounds straight. The 5th round was a good round for Buckley, but it's way too late in a fight when your back's against the wall and you have to make a comeback when you're down 4-0. It's almost impossible to do. We know someone has done that to Usman before, but Usman made sure tonight that was not going to happen, and he looked great, man. He looked really good. He was composed on the feet. He never really got hurt. He ate solid punches, and it was just a real classic performance from Usman. But let's start at the beginning of the main card. So we got Phil Rowe. At the very beginning, we got Jamie Lynn beating Vanessa Demopoulos by unanimous decision. She pretty just put on a striking clinic on her for 3 rounds. Philip Rowe with one of the best comebacks of the night. That was an insane comeback. He gets a TKO done with a minute left of the fight. Less than a minute left. He was down 2-0. He was just getting, kind of beat to the punch all night. He was getting wrestled in that first round. And then in that 3rd round, he started finding his range. And then he was peppering him up with that Diaz-style boxing. Just put the volume on him. And then, ended up getting Los out of there with a minute left to spare. Ricky Simon comes in and just really, no pun intended, smothers Cameron Smotherman. Just beating him up on the feet, beating him to the punch. Taking him down pretty much at will and just keeping him there. Smotherman had no answer for the wrestling, He just couldn't get him off him. He wasn't really looking to, submit or sweep or just get off of his back. And Ricky Simone, he took advantage of that. And he beat him up on the feet. His boxing looked good. His wrestling looked really good. And I think Ricky Simone took the fight on short notice, I think. And he looked really good for coming in on short notice. Ended up getting the job done by a decision. And I can't wait to see more of Ricky. Jose Ochoa straight up just starches Cody Durden in that 2nd round. I had Cody Durden winning that fight. I picked Cody Durden. I didn't pick him on my parlay because I was having second thoughts today. Some premonitions told me, hey, don't bet on this fight because you're not too familiar with Jose Ochoa's game. And that showed. He got knocked out. Cody Durden almost knocked him out in that 1st round when he got hurt. Jose hurt him, and then he rushed in and got clipped with 2 hard, clean overhand rights and put some respect for Cody Durden. But then right at the beginning of that 2nd round, Jose Ochoa was like, dude, you clipped me good, but you were way more hurt than I was. Goes out there, hits him with a crazy uppercut, and then finishes it with a 1-2 from southpaw. Totally just flatlining Cody. Cody just taking another L. He really struggles with really good strikers. He needs to use his wrestling a lot more. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he heals up really good. Next up, we got Malcolm Wellmaker defeating Chris Moitano by round 1 knockout, and I had that on my parlay. A lot of people had that, prediction going into it. Malcolm looked good. His timing was good. I did think he was going for the kill a little too early in the fight. He got a little too overzealous at some points right at the beginning of the fight, but then he toned it down a little bit, and he hit him with a beautiful body shot back-to-back with that right leg. I think that was the first thing he threw when they went out there was a right body kick, and then later on he faked it, stepped in a southpaw, killed him with that right hand, that hook to the head as he stepped down from that fake kick. We call that a ream in Bang Muay Thai, and he played that perfectly. He was lighting up that body with that right kick, and then he He takes him out with that right hand. Really reminiscent of Rafael Fiziev knocking out Rafael dos Anjos with the same technique, except he dropped him with the left hand right after that. So he kicked him with the right, went in for the fake kick, dropped his kick, and went with the lead right hook. But then he throws a big overhand right after that, and that's what really dropped RDA. Malcolm didn't need that overhand. We all know his bread and butter is that lead check hook from southpaw, and yeah, he gets the job done quick. I hope Chris Martinho recovers well from that. Then we got Michael Chiesa defeating Court McGee by unanimous decision, which is what I had. Rodolfo Bellato, I am going to be making a whole video about this. This is the most acted out injury fake flop I've ever seen ever. I lost all respect for this dude. I don't ever want to say anyone's looking for an easy way out, but this dude, he just kind of made it obvious, man. Like I do not respect this guy after this. Paul Craig did hit him with an illegal shot, right? He was on his back in close guard, hits him with an up kick when the dude was down on his knee. Rodolfo Bellato goes like this to the ref, like what the heck, and then totally flops back to his back, like he was just like what, like literally that's how it was, just. And then falls like that, and then goes like this with his eyes. Watch, this is what his eyes did. You don't do that if you're knocked out. If you're knocked out, your eyes remain closed. There's no movement going on. There's no blinking. He blinks twice after he falls to his back. He was totally faking that shit. I think he was looking for a way out. He wanted that disqualification win, and that's what he would have got. But then the referee blatantly was like, "Nah, it was an accident." And listen, I don't think it was an accident. I think if you know a guy's on their knee in close guard and you up kick him, you should be disqualified. I don't care if the dude faked it or not. But honestly, I am glad that he didn't get the win, because I lost all respect for him for faking it that bad. You know what I mean? It's another thing to get hit and then just covering up, going, "Oh fuck, that shit hurt. I can't continue." But the whole acting out of being knocked out and then waking up like, oh, that dude. I hope you get fucking cut from the UFC. That shit just, I lost so much fucking respect for you there. Like, it really pissed me off so bad watching that. Next up, Alonzo Menfield and Omar Sy in a real snooze fest of a fight. Alonzo wins by unanimous decision, 2-1. That was just really boring. Alonzo kind of just had no offense. And when we want to talk about no offense, Umar Sy, whatever. How do you have so much of a reach advantage, but every punch came up short? Your jab would never land, your right cross would never land, your teep would never came up short. Like you just kept coming up short with all your strikes. I don't understand it. Same kind of thing was happening with Phil Rowe at the beginning of that fight with Angelusa. I think he was unexpected. Like, he didn't really expect Angelosa to have that much speed and beat him to the punch, but he also didn't throw any fucking jabs for having a 6-inch reach advantage and being a boxer. Phil Rowe did get me a little frustrated watching the fight. Ends up, coming back and winning at the end, which was awesome. But if you have that much range, you need to learn how to use your range. You need to learn how to control distance. And that is something Umar Sy just did not know what to do. He did not know how to control any distance there. Next up, we got Monster Abdul Malik defeating Cody Brundage by technical decision. I think this should have been a no contest. I think that rule of if the fight goes over 2 rounds and then an illegal strike happens, it can't be called a no contest. They just go to the scorecards, and whoever was winning the scorecards wins the fight. That's freaking ridiculous, because if I accidentally hit you in the nuts after, beating you the first 2 rounds, and then in the 3rd round I accidentally hit you in the nuts, or I accidentally headbutt you and you can't continue, I win because I beat you off of the technical decision. That's ridiculous. It should be a no contest because it was an illegal blow. That's what ended the fight, was an illegal headbutt. It should be a no contest no matter what. Fuck the decision. Cody Brundage got robbed because of that. I don't understand that. That whole rule is ridiculous to me, because I could beat you for 2 rounds and then I could have in my head, oh, I got him clinched up against the cage, if I just knee him hard as fuck to the nuts and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, that was an accident. Oh, I'm so sorry, it was an accident. And then I went off technical decision. That doesn't just make any sense to me. It is what it is. Raoni Barcelos defeats Cody Garbrandt by unanimous decision. This was a really good fight, to be honest. I thought it was an entertaining fight. People thought it was a little boring. I think the crowd was a little crazy booing that fight and the Edmund Shabazian fight, after the first 30 seconds of the first round. I think it's the fans were kind of just a little spoiled there in the prelims, so they were getting kind of tired of the Cody and the Barcelos fight, and I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was close. Cody was looking really good in the first round. I gave him the first round. He was looking pretty good in the second round up until he got caught at the very end, and then I gave it to Raoni off of that, catching him there at the end, and then I gave Raoni the third round. So Raoni wins that 29-28 on all the judges' scorecards. That's what I had it as. And it was a really good fight. I think Raoni is, I don't think he's going to be a champ, but I think he's going to beat some good guys. And Cody, man, I just, it's hard to say what's next for him, I think retirement soon might be in Cody's future. I think, maybe try to get one more win under your belt and then retire off that win. It sucks seeing him go down like that, but, it is what it is. That's the fight game, Edmund Shabazian defeats Andre Petrosky in another pretty much snooze fest. It wasn't that great of a fight. Edmund just picking him apart from the outside, using his really good teep, using his jab, using his left hook, but he never really committed to anything, and neither did Andre. Andre, he committed to a couple right hands that Edmund Shabazian just ate cleaned and then shrugged off, but at the end of the day, Edmund kind of was just playing it a little safe, I feel like, and Andre could not get his wrestling down at all. He had no wrestling shots. He had him up against the cage a couple times, but I don't think he was trying to empty the gas tank on that, because Edmund Shabazian was doing really well, keeping him off his legs and then just picking him apart out in the middle. And I call it a snooze fest. It was boring, but listen, you got to do what you got to do, right? When I say it's a boring fight, I'm not knocking you because it's a boring fight. You got to do what you got to do, right? And sometimes you win like that. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. I've watched so many high-level black belt jiu-jitsu matches where the guy wins on one advantage. It's boring. But listen, a win's a win. You got to do what you got to do. Okay? So if I ever say, "Oh yeah, this was a boring fight," whatever. I'm not throwing shade, right? It was just boring. It is what it is, but you got to do what you got to do. Edmund looked good. That doesn't mean he didn't look good. He picked him apart for 3 rounds. There was nothing Andre could do to him. And yeah, I don't see how a judge gave Andre a single round there. I don't know how that happened at all. I gave it 30-27 Shabazian, but yeah, that was that fight. Next one, co-main event. It was actually Rose and Miranda was actually a way better fight than I thought. Miranda had a lot better, a lot more success than I thought she was going to have on the feet. But I love when a fighter is going against a wrestler and they go, "Hey, I'm going to take you down. Let's see how you fight off your back." And that's what Rose did, man. She took her down in round 1 and round 2, and then I think she took her down in round 3 for a little bit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and then she rocked her and then ended up on top. It was a great fight. Rose looked really good. I liked how she's using some of her grappling again, and that's what I said in the breakdown video. I was like, I'd like to see Rose of old, where she used her jiu-jitsu a little bit more, used her wrestling a little bit more. Her wrestling's gotten better, but she used to, submit chicks, get on their back and choke them out. And she got a little overzealous, I think, in the first round, where she ended up on bottom after getting Maverick in a rear naked choke, and then she almost got put in a head and arm choke. I had Rose winning 30-27. I think they gave Miranda Maverick that first round for, reversing it, getting Rose in that, head and arm triangle, and then maybe finishing the fight. Not even finishing, but giving her a little bit of ground and pound with 10 seconds left. But she was being controlled for 4 minutes of that round, 3 minutes of that round. I don't get how you could give Miranda Maverick that round just because she reversed it and then showed some urgency with 20 seconds left. That's crazy to me. But yeah, Rose looked really good. I don't really know what's next for her. I need to look at the division for the ladies there, but something big is coming from Rose soon. Maybe one more fight, and then it's a title fight if she could win. But yeah, I would say give her the number 1 contender fight. Whoever she fights next, make that for the belt, or make that for the number 1 contender spot. And then the main event, Kamaru Usman beating Joaquin Buckley by unanimous decision. Dude, Usman turned back the clock, bro. And I don't even want to say he turned back the clock, because it's like we've never seen Usman lose to any other welterweight besides Leon. And Leon kind of outstruck him in that second fight. Usman just couldn't get nothing going. In the first fight, he was 4-1 on Leon. You know what I mean? So the second fight, him being, outstruck wasn't super, out of the ordinary, or it wasn't like... It was something that you kind of could see happening, because Leon is such a good striker as well. And, I thought Buckley was gonna use his footwork a little bit better. I mean, he did really well in a lot of the scenarios on the feet, right? And a lot of the striking exchanges, Buckley did very well. But Usman, man, his wrestling is too good. People were talking about his knees were being gone. Even I might have said something about his knees, but that's just me kind of just being a little bit real. It wasn't me like making fun of Usman or doubting him or anything like that. But it is something you got to take into consideration. And listen, when we were watching the fight, I was saying that, he might not have knees that allow him to walk and run around, but he's got knees that were built for wrestling and built for fighting. He might not be able to, go, up and down stairs or walk on concrete for long, but when it comes to fighting, his knees could fight. His knees are meant for wrestling, and he showed it. And I think Buckley was kind of prepared more for the cage wrestling, and Usman was just doing beautiful shots in the middle of the ring, beautiful double legs, beautiful single legs, transition into double legs. And the moment he got Buckley down, man, Buckley just had no answer. He couldn't get him off him. He was just smothering him, and that's what Usman does. That's his fucking bread and butter. When he gets you down, he fucks you up. That's just the way it goes. Every single welterweight he's fought has succumbed to that at one point or another. And, that's just how it was. Buckley, I think this is one of those fights where, a really good top contender fights, a really seasoned vet or someone that's really good up in the rankings, and then they lose, but then they come back a 10 times better fighter. And I totally believe that's how Buckley's going to be. Dude, Buckley looked good on the feet. And in the 5th round, you can't say he wasn't trying to win that fight. He was trying to win that fight. He was throwing bombs the entire 5 minutes of that 5th round. Usman was just doing a really good job at, rolling with the punches, blocking some, most of the big shots. I didn't like how Usman was trying to grab Buckley every time they got, connected. He was, grabbing him. Dude, if you're not grabbing him, none of that shit's working. So he's going to throw bombs. Just keep your hands up and keep your eyes open for the punches, because the more you reach, the more punches are able to come around those arms, and that will put you at risk for, a lot of those big shots landing. But I did have it 49-46, 4-1 Buckley. I gave Buckley that 5th round. He looked good in that 5th round. He was just throwing bombs, overwhelming Usman. I think Usman got a little tired because that was the first time, he wrestled that heavy for 4 rounds straight. And, he didn't have to really rely on his wrestling a lot through his title run. He was, knocking dudes out. So, I mean, but he looked good after having, a year layoff or whatever it was since the last time we've seen him fight, a 2-year layoff maybe. He looked really good. His wrestling looked better than ever, and I think, he's back, man. Usman, like he said, he is the boogeyman. He is the Nigerian Nightmare. This dude is the real deal. You gotta put respect on Usman's name. What do we see next from Usman? I don't know. I think we see maybe him versus Shavkat. That wouldn't be bad, right? I would like to see him versus Shavkat. I would like to see maybe the winner of that getting the title fight, because I think Shavkat has earned his title fight. I do think he does deserve it, but at the same time, does he deserve it after beating Ian Gary? I don't know. Does Usman deserve it after beating Buckley? Maybe we do Buckley versus Shavkat or Buckley versus Ian Gary, and then we do Kamaru Usman versus Shavkat, and the winner of that gets the title. And I think Buckley versus Ian Gary would be a phenomenal fight. Buckley was calling him out, that whole training camp, or that whole fight leading up to Ian Gary's last fight. I think that'd be a phenomenal fight. Buckley versus Gary, or maybe, Carlos Prates versus Buckley. That'd be an awesome fight too. I wouldn't mind seeing those fights. I would really want to see Usman fight Shavkat, though, for the title eliminator. I don't think it would be really fair for him to come back, have one fight against, Buckley, and then get the title shot next. I mean, I do get that he does have that card he could pull because he was the welterweight champion for so long and he was very dominant, that he kind of has a little bit leverage there, and, he probably would sell a little bit more than a Shavkat fight would, because, he'd be able to, speak to the audience better than, what if this was an Islam and Shavkat fight and these dudes that, just barely speak any English. I don't think that'd be a great selling fight, but I do think Usman versus Islam would be a better fight to sell, and it'd be an easier fight to sell. And Usman, he's 38. He only has so much time on his career left, so I would say get him that fight, and then, like he said, if he beats Islam, then fucking make him fight. Have him fight Duplessis. Why not? That'd be a good fight. That'd be a cool fight. But I don't know. He would have to beat Islam first, and that would be a really tall task, because I could see Islam beating JDM, but at the same time, I can see JDM giving Islam a lot of problems on the feet. Let's not forget, Islam has been cracked before, and he's been TKO'd, right? So Don't ever count out JDM. That dude's badass. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting fights for welterweight right now. Welterweight is making a strong comeback. They have a lot of really good guys in that division. Welterweight, lightweight, bantamweight, a lot of really good prospects there. And then we got some good prospects in featherweight. It's like, we got a couple guys and then a random guy, but there's a couple really good guys at featherweight still. Middleweight's kind of boring a little bit without Izzy, and like we got I will say Khamzat Chimaev is making things really interesting at middleweight, because we'll see how that fight plays out with DDP. I think if they do fight, I don't even know if that's been announced yet, but that should be the next fight for middleweight, because there ain't fucking shit else to sell there at that division. Maybe Imavov gets the winner of that, and then light heavyweight, we do got Magomed Ankalaev versus I don't even know who he's fucking retaining his title against. I totally forget. Maybe Yuri, I think. I don't know. Maybe Poatan. I don't even know what's going on with Alex Pereira. And then we all know what the fuck's going on at heavyweight. That bullshit there with Jones and Aspinall. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, that's the video. I'm gonna be making a video tomorrow, totally highlighting how much of a bullshit Adolfo Bolato's acting job was, because I want to expose that guy. That's some bullshit acting, and I think he should be exposed for that. But yeah, anyway, that's the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I will see you on the next one. Peace.